The year 2000 Buffalo Bisons Information Guide indicates the greats of all time. Within the book is pitching coach Ken Rowe. Under career, it states that Ken Rowe pitched professionally for 15 seasons from 1953 through 1968 and spent parts of 3 seasons in the major leagues, earning a World Series ring with the Los Angeles Dodgers in 1963. What it doesn't tell you is this same Ken Rowe started his baseball career with the Jamestown Falcons in 1953. His manager was baseball's leading manager, Danny Carnevale, who hailed from Buffalo, New York. Among his teammates was in the upper left-hand corner Bob Shaw, who went on to win several games in the World Series in 1959 for the Chicago White Sox, and on the far right, the top row, is Jamestown's own Al Taylor. After 10 years in the minors, Ken Rowe would hit the big time in 1963 with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Here's his rookie card. And would appear again in the baseball card with the Baltimore Orioles in 1964. And finally, the year 2000 with the Buffalo Bisons. We're going to give you the scouting report on Kenny Rowe. This is 1953.
Kenny Rowe had a sinker fastball and a good curve.
Good curve. An opportunity to talk to Ken Rowe, your pitching coach for the Buffalo Bisons, and I've got a couple things here I'm sure you've seen, but
yeah, those are rare cards. There wasn't very many made. Actually, this says Orioles on it, but it was taken in Vero Beach when I was with the Dodgers. I never really had a 63 card. Well, actually, not a 63 card.
How did Ken Rowe end up in professional baseball?
Well, I always wanted to be a pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I was a good pitcher in high school, a little small town in Michigan, and if you could, do one thing in athletics pretty good, you were more or less a standout. And I had a good arm; I could throw a curveball. So, but I loved baseball. I remember in 11th grade, we had to stand up and say, "What would you like to do when you get out of high school?" And my first thing I said, it might have sounded silly to some, but I said I want to be a pro ball player.
Mm-hmm.
And as luck would have it, I went on to be a pro ball player. So, even got a chance to play in the big leagues for about a year and a half. Managed to coach in the big leagues a year and a half. So, I kind of made the trips. And as a coach, I've been from the major league level to the rookie level and around again. So, I've got a well-rounded career as far as coaching and playing. A lot of years in the minor leagues as a player, as a pitcher.
Signed off the
I got signed out of high school on the Sandlots, and that's when they had that bonus rule.
Mm-hmm.
If you received more than $4,000, they had to keep you in the big leagues for 2 years. Well, I got $3,250, and I got a $750 up front. And if I stayed with the club 30 days, I'd get the other $2,500, which I did. Even though they sent me to Jackson, Mississippi, in the Cotton States League, I think it was in June or something. And I was awfully wild. For some reason, I just couldn't throw a strike. And we didn't have the instructors that we have now. But I remember some things. I remember getting hit in the jaw in Batavia. Ramon Mejia said a line drive back at me, hit me in the jaw. I threw my hand up, my fist, and hit my wrist, and then hit me in the jaw and knocked me off the mound. But we didn't have trainers, and then I just got back up and started pitching again.
Yeah.
I figured that was what you're supposed to do. And then we have a little catcher named Johnson, Jimmy Johnson. We were in Bradford on a Sunday afternoon, and I'd thrown a curveball going away, and the guy was stealing. And I went down on one knee to the side of the mound, and he tried to throw from one knee and hit me in the back of the head and knocked me out. So all this is going on in my first year. And I'm right out of high school, you know, I'd never been anywhere. And then I was in Batavia again, and I hit a double off the wall, went in second base, and somebody else got a base hit. And Jack Papke, I think, might have been the player manager, big old catcher, and he blocked home plate, and I slid in, busted up my knee, and I'm hobbling around, but you go out and pitch.
Sure.
Nowadays, you'd be in the hospital, and you'd be on a DL for 10 days, you know, but it wasn't that way.
Just didn't know any differently.
No, you just, well, who's going to come in, who's going to help you? They don't have 10 guys. We had like 8 pitchers or 9 pitchers.
How many guys were on this roster?
I believe 18.
18?
18, maybe 19. 2 catchers, an extra outfielder, extra infielder, that was about it. And in fact, Danny Carnavelli might have been a playing manager the year before that somewhere, so he probably could have played. He was a good shortstop before he hurt his back when he was with the Phillies. But I remember my first year very well. My salary was $200 a month.
Sir.
We got $2.50 a day to eat on. And the way they rationalized that was, it was 75 cents for breakfast, 75 cents for lunch, and then $1 for your evening meal. And there was never anything to come off, you know. There was never coffee, Cokes, nothing like that, ever, you know. And then, you know, that's the way it was. Now they got everything. Food, videos, movies, everything, games.
What's the name Jerry Klein mean to you?
Jerry Klein was our bus driver. He wrote a song. Like he wrote a lot of songs. He used to sing to us on the bus.
Yeah.
He drove us from Detroit down to Lakeland, Florida. There was myself and all the prospects, all the guys that just signed. And Williams, what's the name right here?
Cy
Williams was in charge of the bus trip. And Jerry was driving. And we had myself and George Burnett was on the club. He later went to, I don't know, but he had a real good career. And not only in the big leagues, but the minor leagues and in Mexico. And then, of course, he died of a heart attack, I think it was. But Jerry wrote songs, and he sang it on our opening day. In fact, I still have the leaflet that they gave us at the banquet.
No kidding.
And it's got all the people who spoke there and so forth. I have it in my scrapbook. And Jerry got up and sang a song. It was called, the song was, "You Kept It a Secret from Me." And he sang, you know, if you had a curveball that broke like a bomb, you must have left it in the league you came from. 25,000 our scouts paid for you. You keep on losing 12 and 15 to 2. Why don't you quit baseball? Try something else instead. If you win a ball game, our team will drop dead. If you're a great pitcher that's now playing the sea, you kept it a secret from me. I still remember that. That's right. Jerry did it. Jerry Klein. And he had a cigar. Always had a cigar. Yeah, he was an institution there.
Absolutely.
I had a chance to go back to Jamestown when I was with Watertown in the P.O.N.Y. League. And we stayed at the Holiday Inn. And right down the street was that theater that was on a hill.
Right.
And I remember we got rained out one day. We first got there, and I went and saw Moulin Rouge. There was a restaurant downtown. I remember we used to walk downtown. They used to give us 15% off on our meals, and we could pay them on payday. We could charge it. So we ate downtown. And then behind the ballpark, there was a little bar and grill that some of the guys used to go to.
Right.
And I lived on a rooming house on Faulkner Street, probably 2 blocks from the ballpark, because we used to walk back and forth.
Right.
But we knew Lucille Ball came from there.
Right.
And we had a saying, you know, you had to be part gold to live in Jamestown because of the hills.
Right.
So, but that's cute. Jamestown was and I remember the lady I roomed with. She worked for the city. I don't know what she did, but she always talked about Chautauqua. You know, Lake Chautauqua and the programs they had there in the summertime. But it was a great experience. I wish I could have stayed there all year, especially when they won the Bennett by 19 and a half games. But it was a start, you know, and I have no regrets. I wish I could have done better, but like I say, I was wild, and I don't know what it was, you know. But that experience maybe helps me relate to some of these kids, you know.
Sure.
You know, I'm sure it does in some respects. I know what they've been through. They haven't done anything that I haven't done,
Right.
bad or good.
Yeah.
So it's a good starting point in my relationship with some of these younger pitchers.
I'm going to see Al Taylor probably in the next.
But yeah, I still remember that ballpark. I still remember the brick on the outside. I still remember the tile It was kind of like a yellow tile in the
Mhm,
clubhouse.
mhm.
I remember the hills in the back. A lot of things I forget, but some things they're indelible in my memory, like the song that Jerry
Yeah.
Klein signed, you know. Why I should remember that, I have no idea. Maybe it pertained to me a little bit, you know. But,
Well, you're
wow, we didn't have coaches there. We just had a manager, and he had to do it all.
what was Danny like?
He used to yell at me all the time because I didn't throw strikes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't like I wasn't trying.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what I'm doing wrong. I mean, he used to yell and scream at me from the dugout, and I had no recourse. I'd take my hat off and put it over my face, and I'd yell all kinds of names, and I'd put it back over my head, and I got it out of my system,
Yeah.
you know, so that's just the way it was, you know. I didn't tell Danny that, but I'm sure he'll probably find out. But Danny's 82 now. I talked to him
He's
yesterday.
here?
He's still scouting for Cleveland, you know. He's still working. He looks great.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about this, that we had played an exhibition game with Buffalo.
Oh.
And I started and went 6 innings, and Schoolboy Rowe pitched the last 3.
My God.
And he got the loss. But here I am, a first-year Class A pitcher pitching against a Triple-A club.
Yeah.
And I still got the box score, but they had Rowe versus Rowe
Well, that's real.
pitches against the Bisons.
And since you were from Detroit area,
From Detroit,
that was meaningful.
well, Schoolboy Rowe was big there, plus when I worked out in Detroit, when I threw him aside, he was there, kind of like a scout, you know. In fact, he said, I had an old glove, and he said, kid, let me see that glove. And he said, here, take this one. He gave me a new glove that he didn't.
Oh, wow.
Well, it wore out. It was a Spalding, and the pocket wore out, I think, the next year somewhere. But I remember when we got to spring training, he was a pitching coach in spring training, like for whole minor leagues. And I never will forget this, and I tell this story, and a lot of guys think I'm you know, not telling the truth, but he said, son, he said, I'm going to give you 2 words of advice. He said, always hold your fastball across the seams and never drink on an empty stomach. I never forgot that. And later on, I started throwing 2 seamers and drinking on a full stomach. So
There you go.
There you go. You know, that's how it goes. But he actually told me that.
That's terrific.
So, Schoolboy or Schoolie.
You've seen so many players, so many places. Who's the best?
Oh, I played with Koufax. Koufax, pitching-wise, had to be the best. I would guess 1 year in 1964, I relieved in 94 games.
My God.
What makes it a little weird is my record was 17 and 11, all in relief. That's a lot of decisions for a relief pitcher.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and that was between the big leagues and AAA. So that's